If you ever want to experience a rich Amerindian culture, then you need to pay a visit to Mainstay, Whyaka, a special village nestled in Pomeroon, Supernam Region 2, known to produce the sweetest pineapples you'll ever find in Guyana. Join me as we journey to the Amerindian village to experience their way of life. After 4 hours of traveling, we arrive at this majestic gem, a village that is part of the Great Tri-Lake in Essequibo, where there is an abundance of fresh water. After entering the village, about 15 minutes down a sandy trail will lead you to the main settlement, Mainstay.
This is Mainstay, Whyaka village.
This village is home to 750 persons who all work in tandem to ensure the village remains a space of peace and tranquility.
Mainstay Whyaka. Whyaka, the word Whyaka is an indigenous word which means first person at this place. So when our ancestors would have arrived here many years ago, they went to Whyaka and they named that place Whyaka. But English has changed it to Whyaka. But it meant, or it means, first person at this place. So what we've been able to research, sometime 1880s, somewhere in the 80s, the village started. And it started at Whyaka before persons moved over to Mainstay, which is over here where we're sitting. And if we look across the lake, we had one family live across there many years ago too. Today nobody lives there. There's a farming area. But this is the history of our village. Another thing I'd like to point out quickly is that Mr. Thomas Ebenezer Pearson, the first Tushaw of this village, he was not elected, but he took upon himself the leadership. As an indigenous man, he took leadership and he brought in people and they all respected him as the leader. They call him the captain then, and we know the history is that when he looked around and saw a couple children maybe running around, there was no school here in Mainstay, no school. What he did, he built the first school because I believe he believed that education is important. We do not know how educated he was, but he thought education is so important that he built the first school right where the resort is today, where the Lake Mainstay Resort. He built the first school there. I also learned that the first day of school, the children sat on the floor. And the next day, they had some desks and benches. So that is our history. What we did, we honor him. We have a monument that we made in honor of Mr. Thomas Ebenezer Pearson because we believe he believed education, and we continue to have a lot of focus on education. And so Mainstay have produced some really good people.
Like most of the villages in Guyana, it contains a village office and a health post.
COVID-19 grant. That's in 2020. That was delivered, but we start working on 2021. We were able to use part of that money to develop our multi-purpose building, our ICT hub, which is completed, and we also have all our computers now. We are hoping to hook up to the internet before the 10th. We're working on this beach area to upgrade our beach area. Those are some of the things. We have our little guest house, also part of government support. And presently now we're working on a poultry project, government supported also. So there has been a lot of government support. I would also like to mention that we have plans and we are looking in the area of agriculture, expansion, extending our agriculture. We want to get into commercial agriculture, and so we are also the beneficiary of a brand new tractor with all the agri-implements like plow and other things. So we have had a lot of support in this short period from government. And we intend to strengthen our partnership with government because we have a development plan which we hope to execute.
The main economic driver in the community is easily tourism, as the village sports a picturesque view of Lake Mainstay, steaming with aqua life, lush green sceneries, and is a hiker's paradise.
So people always want to go swimming. It's safe, and when you come here, it's peaceful. We are hospitable people. We like to have visitors. So I think the lake is the main attraction. What is being happening though, we have had this discussion and we are encouraging more community tourism, meaning more community, local people to get involved, put your package together, and we can, have linkages. We have the Lake Mainstay Resort, which is popularly known. It's known across the country and it's known internationally also. So people would come to the resort. What we are working on now is that to have other activities, so when people come to the resort or come to our little guest house, that we can take them out. This can be part of the package. Take them to in the woods to have a look. We have wildlife, flora, fauna, we have those things. And so we're working on putting a package together that we can take them out.
The Lake Mainstay Resort is the peak of attraction for the village. It sits on a quarter-mile stretch of sand beach with hundreds of trees around. With 34 self-contained cabins that can accommodate a whopping 160 visitors, Lake Mainstay Resort sees thousands of visitors each year, with persons coming from overseas to experience the serenity.
Everyone knows about the Lake Mainstay Resort, so it's widely recognized. Contribution to the village. I must say that quite a number of local people, residents, are working with the Lake Mainstay Resort. So, they're benefiting there. I would also like to say that to the village council, the Lake Mainstay Resort, it's a tri-party agreement. Government, Lake Mainstay, and the Mainstay Whyaka Village Council. So we receive a small fee, rental fees, which the agreement is coming to a close, I think, next year. So we are already looking at drafting a new agreement, and of course we will raise the rent.
Also, there is a tour boat in the village where visitors pay to experience the peacefulness of the lake.
The thought first came to my father. He just think that we have a beautiful lake, one of the most beautiful lake in Guyana, and a lot of persons never really go around and see. I mean, you just see from this side of the lake, but when you go out, you don't really see, So he came about the idea of building a boat so you could get a tour around to see on the mission. We offer a tour around the lake, a 25 to 30 minutes tour around the lake. Yeah, and what can I say? It's a good experience, especially for outsiders, foreigners. Yeah, and the cost to go around, we take 500 for adult, 300 for children. But if your family or the group is smaller than 12, we take 6,000.
Village life in Mainstay Mission is quite comforting. There are many self-employed persons, while some are skilled professionals and others that work outside the village.
Village life outside of farming, maybe you go fishing. We like sports, football, cricket, volleyball. But we don't have much excitement outside of farming. We are not the people that throw parties every weekend. No, we don't. We have religious people. We have people who love to watch sports. And we don't have much outside of farming and logging. If you look around, we have some what we call enhancement workers. So they would work 4 hours per day and they get a monthly stipend, and which we greatly appreciate because we find work for them along the beach, keep the place clean, cut the grass, you know. And so we have a couple of those workers. We have the CSOs, the community service officers. They also help us. Some would help in the village office at the toll gate, you know, and we find different things for them to do. We also have recently the development pathway, which we have some of them in school, helping the teachers, making teacher aid, and, you know, help the children to read and do. They're not teachers, mind you, but they help in school. We have some of those persons in the health center also. And so they help our health worker and our nurses in whatever way they can. And we have in the community that we call community development helpers. So we find work for them. And so this is very, very important, and it's so helpful to community economic development, because while it might look little, but being in a community and not at the end of the month, not having anything to fall back on because you're waiting on your farm, and your farm might be pineapples, which is 2 years down the line. You know, it's difficult. But at the end of the month, a $30,000, $40,000 or $50,000 at the end of the month is very helpful to someone living in a village life.
The main work in the village is farming. There, the tastiest pineapples are grown organically without the input of foreign chemicals. And prior, many were exported to international markets.
The main crop is pineapples. But what we do, we intercrop. So you would plant short-term crop, which is like pumpkin, squash, cucumber, melon, and some cassava. These short-term crop provide you with some income before the pineapple is being harvested. So that is how farming is taking place. What I notice a lot of people start putting in now what we call permanent crops. Citrus, coconuts, and even one farmer, he planted a lot of cane.
Apart from pineapples, other crops are grown as the village stays healthy by consuming what they grow.
Well, we regular people, we eat what any Guyanese eat. We don't live on, you know, some people would think that we live on cassava bread and pepper pot. No, of course I would do pepper pot, but that's not our everyday meal. I think what has happened in Mainstay and many Amerindian villages is that our diet has changed. Our diet has changed, and we're eating things like any other Guyanese. Of course, we still do fishing. We still hunt to a very small extent, but most of our diet is chicken, fish, beef, like any other Guyanese.
We decided to head out to one of the farms located beyond the lake. Our tour guide, the two young grandsons of the farmer. After 25 minutes of trekking through dense vegetation and slushy trails, we finally reached the farm of Leo Bones. Leo, how do you do this every day?
So I do this actually 4 times for the week. Yeah, so and every day, of course, I do a 3 hours working business.
Is it difficult coming out here 4 times a week to tend to the farm in the hot sun?
Of course, yes, but as this is life and I have no other means of transportation, you know, I do walk, and of course it is so much difficult, but then I get accustomed, you know, doing it, and of course it's nice for the body also, you know, to get the body, you know, in order. I must say to you, in this farming, I did suffer strokes for 1 year, 2 years and a half. And after that, I could not have really paid much attention to the farm. But after recovering, you know, I had to still do a lot of work, you know, 2 hours a day because of the weak system. You know, I come and still put in that, you know, and to get it done. And of course, this is the shape of the farm now. Of course, I love farming. I love farming. Tell you the honest truth. My mom, when she was alive, she do a lot of farming. My dad also, right? But you know, they passed away. And of course, she did leave a legacy in farming, you know, and I really take care of it. And after that, I still continue to do farming. I love farming because farming has a lot of things inside that really you can get yourself going. It can help you, can assist you in your livelihood. Living in Mainstay, because of the place, I mean, I'm born and grew and I'm accustomed to it, you know, I see it. I do love Mainstay. I like Mainstay a lot. Yeah. Doesn't matter, you know, we have a little trials, you know, at times with the living and the kind of work doing. But, you know, I like Mainstay.
Here at Gomes's farm, you'll find the juiciest sugarcane in the region. So this is the first time I'm going to try a sugarcane grown from the arable lands right in Mainstay, Whyaka. Very soon, government will roll out a cage fishing initiative in Mainstay, Whyaka.
We are really excited about it because it's totally new to us. New to us. We have never done any cage fishing or whatever. We have already identified the area and we would not put it in the lake where, you know, people would disturb it. So in our canal, where a study was already done to do the depth of the water, so we have identified fish. We are eagerly awaiting because that is also the tambaqui, which we don't know much about. Of course, I've had it, I've ate it before. I've seen it in Region 9 in ponds and whatever, so I have a little knowledge of it. But to actually rear it in a cage, we are excited to see this new venture. And we're hoping that it will happen very, very soon.
Picturesque sceneries, the bountiful farmlands, the unbroken culture. This is Mainstay, Whyaka.